Hack is back. For the first time in almost a decade, we are getting a new installment to the Hack series. And this time, it's not just a remaster with some extra content. I'm talking a full 100% new title. Today, CyberConnect 2 came out of nowhere with a trailer and announcement about their newest project, Hack Z.E.R.O. In the trailer, we see some extremely familiar faces, important callbacks, and all kinds of tasty data that any old-school Hack fan would recognize, bringing this legendary series back from its grave and to the forefront for the first time in years. Hack is an old-school JRPG and anime manga series that started back in 2002 with the releases of the anime Hack Sign and its first game series, Hack Infection. The series explored a near future, at the time anyway, where people would log into a VR MMORPG called The World and explore dungeons, fight monsters, and spend time chatting with friends. Ironically, in 2002, this was more or less sci-fi. While VR was a topic and had been in development, this was long before the current situation where VR is readily accessible by the modern-day consumer. It's really crazy looking back at some of the original Hack media and seeing how the predictions they made then both match and are horribly off with how VR and the internet is used today. But funny enough, this is an important point for the new game, but we'll get to that later in the video. In the game The World, a terrible phenomena happens that causes players in the game to enter into a coma. Over the different installments in the series, Sign, IMOQ, Bracelet of Twilight Roots, GU, and Link, different situations within those bounds occur, but it always comes back to a certain AI named Aura. Now, I won't spoil the games of old here because I'd really like you to experience them. Granted, it isn't the easiest to get a hold of some of those titles currently, but hey, this might be the first wheel of change in that regard. And I'll have a series breakdown in the description for where to start enjoying this legendary series. What I will mention is that the cast of characters we see in this trailer look rather similar to the main cast of Hack IMOQ, the most beloved installment in the series, and also a set we've been unable to get proper remasters of due to big issues with the IP holder Bandai Namco. People have been begging for a remake of IMOQ for over a decade and a half, and it's more or less fell on deaf ears. CyberConnect has shown open interest in developing a new game, and many of us had hoped after Bandai produced Hack GU last Recode that maybe we'd finally get it, but that kind of fell to the side. That said, here we are with what looks like a Hack IMOQ inspired new installment produced entirely by CyberConnect themselves. This is kind of insane because this doesn't really happen. So Bandai to this day still holds the IP, but has given the okay to CC Corp to in-house produce an entire new series using said IP. Bandai isn't producing it, nor are they helping fund it. It's being self-produced through CC Corp, which is incredible. We're about to see the ground zero of a true passion product from a company that has dedicated 30 years, as of today, to this world and the series they have made, and I couldn't be more excited. But before we deep dive CC Corp and their announcement today, let's talk the trailer. So it opens up to a sky view of what looks to be Tokyo in the mid-afternoon. It's modern, maybe slightly futuristic, as we see some kind of helicopter-like drones carrying packages. From here we see some sort of social media page that we can only assume our main character is posting on. My Japanese isn't the best. However, what I more or less gleaned from these posts is that our main character is posting online about how life is hard and feeling an inescapable sort of emptiness. However, the comments they receive in response to their feelings are far from positive. Most of the comments are unempathetic and find reasons to fault the original poster, claiming their depression is their fault or that they should try harder in life rather than complain. We quickly watch all these comments that are negative get blocked, which honestly, mood, Twitter's a nightmare, I get it. A really important panel comes up in the middle of this though. We get some sort of quick shot of a hospital bed, which I can only assume is a coma patient. It wouldn't be .hack if we didn't have someone in a coma due to The World, and that's the first actual reveal we kind of get in this trailer. Who's in the bed? No clue, but given what we know about IMOQ, I'd like to wager a guess that that person in the bed is probably our main character's best friend. From this point, we get thrown into a chase scene that definitely takes place inside the online VR MMORPG The World, featuring a character that sure looks like Kite from Hack IMOQ, running away from something in a dungeon that's a carbon copy of Delta, bursting past over Aquafield. The dungeon we see in the first game where Kite's friend Orca gets data drained and the entire plot of The World begins. The fact that this occurs right after seeing the comatose patient can't be coincidence. The blue-haired boy continues to run and we get a zoomed shot of a girl with long white hair and an infinity symbol attached to her chest. The iconic design of the AI behind the entire world, Aura. Keeping my notes in order though, from here we see a fight scene externally from the dungeon. I'm assuming this is taking place on the field map of the same location. We see a blade master that really looks like Balmung and a heavy blade that really looks like Black Rose. So now we have lookalikes of the entire main cast of .hack IMOQ that fans have been begging for years, all in one place, except .hack IMOQ took place in 2010, so it can't be the same characters, right? We get some interesting angle shots showing Aura from the back in a black dress, and a close-up of Skate's cross tied down with chains, and a black feather floating down from above before we quickly zoom back to the fight between Balmung and Black Rose. Whatever's chasing Kite catches up and the game corrupts, showing us this lovely red screen and a bunch of pop-up windows that come up in quick succession. Now, here's where things get really interesting. The first set of pop-up windows look like an email from CC Corp, but the message themselves actually is more like a forum from a bunch of different posters. The names of the posters, though, are strange. We have names like Sense of Justice, Loneliness, Threats. These seem more like inner thoughts or emotions. And to make matters even more interesting, these messages target the main character's pain, just like the social media board we saw moments ago. Just to read a few. You still think someone's going to explain things to you? Visiting you while you're hospitalized feels good, so stay quietly like that the whole time. Seriously, what are you? Every time I talk to you, nothing but trouble comes up. And then a bunch of error codes hit the screen, which the codes, interestingly enough, match up to the release dates from the original .hack releases. Every important release date of the mainline series is listed here. That's crazy important, and 100% leads me to believe we aren't just looking at a single game release. I think we're looking at a full .hack revival. But staying on track, we see Aura, but this time clad in black with dark arms and legs reaching out to our Kite lookalike. I can't help but notice she's also missing the infinity mark that we just saw on Aura moments ago. But either way, she looks sinister, which is a wild change of mood from the Aura we've known for the last 3 decades. Kite takes her hand and things get more corrupted, and next thing we know, Kite's on the field map angry and upset. He points his arm at our Black Rose and Balmung lookalikes fighting below and uses data drain. Insane trailer. I can't even begin to wrap my head around the reality I'm living in. I have dreamed of getting more .hack content for years, and this is like a fever dream. The Kite we know and love would never cast data drain on a person, especially given that data drain is typically connected to the comas that plague the real world. But given all the forum and social media posts we saw in the earlier parts of the trailer, I'm pretty sure the focus here is going to be on the darker aspects of the modern online world. Now, I'm gonna tackle one other big chunk of info we've been given before I fangirl and go over my personal takes, because right after the trailer drop, we were graced with an interview from Matsuyama Hiroshi, the CEO of CyberConnect 2. In it, we were given some character design sheets and some insider info regarding this new game's development. According to Matsuyama-san, .hack Z.E.R.O has been in development for over a decade now, and is to be a completely new installment of the .hack series that both old-time fans and entirely new fans can enjoy. We know it's going to be an action-focused RPG, and that it'll feel different from prior installments while maintaining the core vibe of .hack, and that despite the name similarity, this game holds zero connection to the novel .hack Z.E.R.O. This one is Z.E.R.O with a period in between, and that's going to hold some sort of story game importance. CC Corp is self-publishing this title. They were given the okay from Bandai to make this, but Bandai Namco is not involved in its production at all, making this an interesting piece because all prior releases had to get funneled through a Bandai creative team as well. This time, it's entirely CC Corp, so nothing's gonna get held back this time around. The thing that really caught my attention was this though. Matsuyama-san brings up how .hack was originally made at a time where the internet was fresh and new. We didn't know what the online world would bring, and .hack was made with that fresh perspective in mind. But now the internet is a part of our daily lives, and with it we have not only a deeper understanding of it, but we've also seen the negatives. He directly addresses how the internet today has a lot of darkness to it, and that this new game is going to showcase a much more realistic and accurate concept of how the internet is also cruel. We kind of already see this directly in the trailer, so I'm beyond excited to see how they approach this topic. As a VTuber, I'm no stranger to the judgment the internet brings, and Japan's idolsphere is specifically a hotbed of internet discourse, hate threads, doxing, and all kinds of bad stuff. If they plan on taking this to some level of that darkness in their concept of the plot, I can only imagine what it's gonna be like. They also mentioned that before, the games were severely limited in being able to showcase both the real world and the online world, but that the real world and real life consequences are going to play a solid role this time around. .hack has always been a dark series, so I am beyond ready to see what they've been cooking. This interview has a lot of fun and interesting points. I highly recommend you read it too, see what you think about a lot of their discussions. Plus, you can check out some of the extra info that's in there that I haven't covered today. It will be in the description so you can give it a read yourself. I grew up on .hack. I watched the animes, I played all the games. Heck, I even read and owned multiple of the visual novels, but like, before we had things like FNAF and Poppy Playtime where we had to dig for data to figure out the story, .hack was our media scavenger hunt. The internet was so new, and every release had different important information to piece together, but it was never clear and easy, right? I remember having to go through and find forum boards with map codes to seek out and try to find hidden story points that then connected to different books and all kinds of different forms of media, and just how much fun it was to hunt down every tiny piece of information. I have been begging for a remake of IMOQ for years. I've replayed the games on stream, I've read the novels and ASMR streams, I've vocally screamed into the void, that's called Twitter, about how much I love the games on a relative frequent basis. I even signed into the Bandai Partner Program in hopes that maybe, just maybe, if I brought the game up enough in their partner Discord, they'd remake it, only to wake up to this lovely gem. I'm so excited. Now, the final thing I want to yap your head off about, that I'm almost convinced of, but there isn't really any proof to support this really, is that this announcement isn't just announcing their new game .hack Z.E.R.O. I believe that this is the start of a whole new .hack timeline. And there's one point of info I have to kind of prove it. In the credits page, at the end of the trailer, at the very top, it says Project Dusk. But according to Famitsu and the Twitter posts that they posted today, this game is referred to as Project Z.E.R.O. So what's Project Dusk? Also, Project Twilight was the name for the original series. Not only that, CC Corp has always been very passionate about the .hack world, and they've spent 10 straight years on this. I firmly doubt that this game is the only thing in the chamber. I think we're going to see a whole new line, assuming funding is decent and fans continue to support strongly, but us .hackers have been vocal and strong about it this whole time. We're not backing out now. Thank you for watching my first ever video essay. I've never done one of these before, but the minute I saw the trailer this morning, I knew I needed to sit down and break this down. It's one of the few topics that I'm super passionate about and know a fair enough about. I literally on stream yesterday was talking about setting my PS2 back up and continuing our .hack IMOQ playthrough later this month. Either way though, let me know in the comments what you are excited about for this game. Got theories? Find other cool things in the trailer I missed? Let me know.